Oh, hey there. I didn't catch you there. How you doing today? Hello. Happy Wednesday, all of you. Drinking protein drink, as you can see. It's going to make me cough. It's going to make me regret. Oh, the reason why? The grittiness gets stuck right back here. And then you talk without... it just gets stuck. Today we're talking about things you don't like to talk about. We have another request from Joshua. D&H. We're talking about D&H today. Dungeons and hazelnuts. So that is what Joshua dislikes. What is that code for? We have to use code so the YouTube censors are not going crazy. We do. Because the YouTube censors be like, red alert, red alert, red alert. Can't have this, can't have this. We're talking about D-rugs, D-rugs, and AL, A-L, C-O, Hall, H-A-L-L. Al. So, D-rugs is when you de-rug your place. And then alcohol is when Al has a co-star. He has some sort of co-host or co-star or something, and they're walking through the hall to de-rug the place. That's what we're talking about today. That's what we're talking about. Okay? All code words, obviously, because the YouTube censors. So, Joshua, I very much agree with you there. It's something that I very much dislike as well. I'm just going to call it Dungeons and Hazelnuts, or D&H, okay? D&H. I very much dislike that as well. That's not something that I approve of. You know, I myself have done, I'm sure the majority of people have probably at least tried alcohol before, but it was a very, very bad time many, many years ago. Probably half my age. Yeah, like almost half my age now. Ugh. I was probably like 16 or 17 years old when I did it a few times. Of course, most people underage. If you're under the age, I would say if you're under the age of 25 and you're doing any sort of alcohol, then you better heavily consider your life choices, because when you do that at that age, you do damage to your mind. You do damage to your body. Oh, Al, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. I'm going to a different video now. Cognitive dissonance. Don't want to hear it. Don't want to hear it. I'm having too much fun. I don't want to hear it. That's what most people do. So if that's you, which you're probably not, even still here if you're under that age, but if you do that, I would say heavily consider those choices, because you will do damage. Now, I have talked about this in the past before. I know from the very first time that the alcohol slipped into my mouth and swallowed it, I felt as though something was taken within me. I don't know how to describe it. I was very aware of things. I was very in tune with things. And then the moment that happened, it was fading away. It was an interesting feeling. Like, it happened immediately. Because I remember just being aware, and then when I did that, I'm like, oh. I don't really know how to describe it, but yeah, those are not things that I approve of or agree with. Now, when it comes to drugs, here's the interesting thing about drugs. We had to define what drugs are. Because drugs, there's a wide array of things. Are we talking about illegal drugs? Are we talking about prescription drugs? Are we talking about even drugs that are labeled, like supplements and vitamins? Those are pretty much drugs. So I think the best way of putting drugs is any sort of substance that someone is dependent on, that, drugs, any sort of substance that someone is dependent on, whether it be legal or illegal, and it causes them harm. That is what I would define as a drug. Okay? Now think about that for a moment. There are a lot of illegal drugs that are obviously, illegal for whatever reason, but also they can do a lot of damage and people can become addicted to them. But there's also prescription drugs that people are addicted to that are far worse. Like the whole opiates. People get prescribed them after surgery or some sort of pain that they have, and then they become addicted to it, and it becomes very difficult. The doctor who prescribed it for them pretty much is the one fueling this addiction. They just keep prescribing it, keep giving it to these people who need some sort of help to be able to overcome the addiction. Now, I can't sit here and say how difficult it is going through that sort of addiction, but I will say that it won't be easy. There are plenty of people, so many people in the United States, it's skyrocketing levels that people are addicted to these opiate drugs. This is something that should be heavily regulated by the FDA. This is a prescription drug. Not everyone can just get it. You see what happens? So it doesn't matter if it's illegal, or a prescription drug. People can and will become dependent on it for any number of reasons. Okay? So let's take another example. Marijuana, for example. I am not against that. I used to be against that until I learned a lot of the medical health benefits of it. Like as I say, remember, I always recommend. Let me show you. Here it is. Joy Organics CBD. Use code AUT15. Save 15%. There you go. JoyOrganics.com. So that is CBD. That's extracted from hemp. CBD is also the same compound in marijuana as well. Not the part that makes you high. That it's the THC. Let's talk a bit about that. So marijuana in itself is not technically chemically addictive, like cigarettes and alcohol, for example. Like you won't consume a lot of it and then your body will not be dependent on it. Instead, it is a psychologically dependent drug. And what I mean by that is, if you are someone who does not have any proper coping techniques to relax, if you feel stressed and you just, do marijuana, you smoke it or whatever else that you do, vape it, if that's you, then that right there is a clear sign of chemical dependency. I mean, not chemical dependency, psychological dependency and addiction. Why? Because you feel as though that's the only way you can relieve stress, and you won't feel relieved until you do that. You'll feel on edge until you do that, because you don't know breathing techniques, you don't know any sort of other technique to lessen your anxiety and stress. That's all you know, is to take a substance to relax you. That's what we call psychologically dependent. It may not, you may be able to just stop and not, your body will not go through withdrawal symptoms and this and that. No, because it's not chemically addictive, but psychologically in your mind, it is. So, that's pretty much my thoughts on this. If you are dealing with any sort of addictions like that, then certainly understand that the road ahead will not be easy, but you can beat it. You can overcome it. There are plenty of people who have. Look at the success stories and keep fighting, because your health is the most important. So when you put your health first, guess what? You will make such a huge difference in your life and those around you who want to see you happy and successful. That's my word for you today. We still have some more topics to cover about what you don't like. The next one will be from Promise Rhodes about dating. Well, it's more in depth than that, but we're going to talk a bit about being single or in relationships or whatever. Anyway, that's all. Y'all take care. Have a good day. I'll catch you later. How about that? Bye-bye.